I'm Candy Wallace, founder and executive director of the American Personal and Private Chef Association. Today we're going to be demonstrating some personal chef client favorite comfort food recipes. What we're going to start with this morning is an apple meatloaf. This is a wonderful, tasty meatloaf made with Granny Smith apples, and it also is going to have a Chinese 5-spice glaze. I'll start with the ingredients. We're using today 2.5 pounds of ground sirloin, 2 Granny Smith apples that we've diced, a 1.5 cups of herbed bread stuffing, a 1/2 cup of ketchup. We have a diced white onion. And this is 2 tablespoons of prepared horseradish sauce and 3 eggs. Now, the way that I like to make this meatloaf is with my hands. So I've washed my hands thoroughly with soap and water and they are completely clean, and I'm going to put all the ingredients into this bowl and combine the meatloaf with my hands. So this is really a lot of fun. So we're going to combine the meatloaf. Reminds me of Play-Doh and silly putty and all kinds of great mud pies that we used to make as children. You want to squeeze this to make sure that you're incorporating all of the breaded stuffing into the mixture. But you don't want to squeeze it too hard or too much because you'll actually toughen the meat. Okay, I think everything's incorporated. I'm going to let this sit for just a moment and show you some of your options for baking off an apple meatloaf or any meatloaf. This is a traditional meatloaf pan. If you were to bake this meatloaf mixture in this pan at 350 degrees, it would take you 1.5 hours to bake this one meatloaf. This is a mini meatloaf pan. If you were to bake several of these mini meatloafs with this particular mixture, you would be baking the mini meatloafs for 45 minutes at 350 degrees. This is a large muffin tin. I like to bake my meatloafs in muffin tins for my clients so that I can store them in individual servings. This particular muffin tin would take 30 minutes of baking at 350 degrees. This is the tin I'm going to use today. This takes 15 to 18 minutes to bake all of this meatloaf mixture in individual cups. Since this only takes 15 to 18 minutes to bake, I need to put the Chinese 5-spice glaze onto the stove because it takes 15 minutes to reduce down to the consistency of the glaze. So I'm going to use a sauce pot, and I'm going to use 1.5 cups of concentrated apple juice. And to that I'm going to add 1/2 cup of ketchup, and I'm going to whisk it together to combine it. I'm going to give this one more little turn, and then I'm going to portion it into balls and set the balls into each one of the individual tins. Now you can continue on forming the balls to fill the muffin tin until all the muffin tins are filled, but what we're going to do now is we're going to continue on and finish off the sauce while we bake these muffins in the oven. I'm going to turn it on to a high heat for about 15 minutes. This converts to a glaze very quickly. It's beautiful and it's rich. So what I'm going to do before I take it off the heat is I'm going to add the Chinese 5-spice. And I'm just going to sprinkle it in and whisk it in and let it cook for just a minute. I just took the meatloaf muffins out of the hot oven and I set them down, and I also took the glaze off the stove. You can see this consistency of this beautiful rich glaze. Now what I'm going to do is take a spoon and put some of the glaze on each one of the muffins, and we'll glaze each of these puppies with this beautiful rich Chinese 5-spice glaze. And you can just continue on until you've glazed each one of the muffins, and then you're ready to serve or to store. Now, in order to store these muffins, I can cool them all till they're completely cooled, and then I can wrap them in individual aluminum foil packages and store them all in a freezer-safe container, or actually a Ziploc bag works beautifully too. That way you can defrost them in the refrigerator overnight, as many of them as you like, and you can heat them in the microwave or heat them in the conventional oven and enjoy them sliced as a meatloaf sandwich or as a hot entree with a vegetable and some wonderful potatoes. There we go. Apple meatloaf muffins. Enjoy.